few minutes we have, look at, again, we're talking about quadratics. And, and we've been solving quadratics, and quadratics always will have how many answers? Two. Normally, the maximum would be 2, but it could have 1, it could have 0 as well. So I wanted to look at these graphs and look at what a quadratic looks like. So here's x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals 0. And here's my graph. And my x equals negative 6 and 1. And so you can see where it crosses the x-axis at negative 6 and 1. Now here is a quadratic, x squared plus 1. If I solve this by extracting the square roots, take the 1 over the other side, get negative 1, x squared equals negative 1, take the square root, sorry, x equals plus or minus I, which is not a real number. If it's not a real number, you would notice it doesn't cross the x-axis. There's no real solutions to this. And so I wanted to show you the difference between something that has real solutions, it's going to cross the x-axis, something that does not have real solutions. If you notice, we still have 2 roots. We still have 2 zeros here, even though they're imaginary. And we notice that there's a turning point here, and we'll talk about that in later on in a later lesson. But what I want to look at, we want to look at inequalities, solving inequalities algebraically as well as graphically. And so we're going to take this, with an equal sign, we're looking for the points that it crosses the x-axis. With the inequality signs, we're looking for all the points that will make it, here, less than, below the x-axis. Greater than everything above the x-axis. And we notice that our zeros are our starting points. We need to remember that a less than means a conjunction. Use the word and. Alright, if I look at x squared plus 5x minus 6, and we're going to solve this inequality algebraically, we're going to factor just like we would if it was an equals. And then we're going to look at everything that's below the x-axis. It's everything between negative 6 and 1. So therefore I would have this as my answer. That tells me it's all the points between negative 6 and 1, negative 6 and 1 that's included. Now if I'm looking at this one, greater than, where are the points that are greater than? Everything here and everything here. Starting to draw a bunny rabbit if you just have, no, just kidding. But anyways, it's everything above the x-axis. But there's nothing in common, so that's where we use a disjunction that uses the word or. So here to do this is everything from negative infinity, because if you remember, this keeps on going and keeps on going and keeps on going, and we keep on going. So we're really from negative infinity to negative 6 included. This side keeps on going and keeps on going to infinity. So we use a little U sign for or, so we don't have to write or. This is the union sign, everything. So we would have 1 to infinity. So we need to remember that if it's greater than, it's going to be or, it's going to be the extremes. If it's less than, it's going to be and, it's going to be everything in between. So we want to be able to picture these graphs in our head as we solve these. All right, and we'll look more at this tomorrow, but I just wanted to introduce that to you today. So we'll look at more of that tomorrow.